This is tutorial 8-2 in GIS tutorial workbook 3. In this, we're going to be adding geodatabase annotations. And before we begin this one, I'm going to want you to open up our catalog, because we're going to be editing and saving edits, and I don't like to do that without a backup set up. So you're going to want to go to your GIS T3 folder, go to Data. You're going to want to right click on Data and go to New, and just add a new folder and call it Backup. And you're going to want to click on City of Oleander, then holding the Control button, click on Street Centerline. Oh, it won't let you do both. So we'll just do it one at a time. So just right click, copy, right click on Backup, and click Paste. And do the same thing for street center lines. Now, if we do anything that we don't like, we can simply just delete this City of Oleander and recopy this one right back into here. So with that done, we can shut down and we can start our tutorial. So you just want to go up here and start 8-2. Now, the first thing we're going to do is we're going to go to zoning districts. Which is right here. We're going to right click and we're going to convert labels to annotation. Now this screen will pop up and they want us to pretty much know what we're looking at. Now first off, our reference scale is for 1 to 7,200, and it's given that reference scale because that's what we're zoomed into. And it will be storing the annotations into the geodatabase, and we want this because if you were to ever send this to someone, you'd want them to be able to have these labels because they would be better than just using the dynamic labels that the program normally uses and we've been using up to this point. And we want to use the features in the current extent only. This is important in when doing features that are very numerous, because if there's 10,000 features, it's going to want to draw all of them. So make sure you do that. And if we had selected a few, which is maybe someday you might want to do, you just select this, but you'd have to have features already selected for this to be an option. Now, feature linked is what they tell us to have, and that means that the feature is set to the feature, that it's still linked to it. And they want us to label it with the extent. So over here, this is where you name the feature class that's going to be created, and you can just put the number. I put EX just for extent. And then they want us to click on here, and this is some of the properties that are going to take place. If a new feature is added, it will create a new annotation. If you update one or modify one, it'll update the annotation. And down here is our destination. It will always save it to the geodatabase that has the feature in it, because it wants it to be like a nice little package. And then make sure that this box is checked. Convert unplaced labels to unplaced annotations, because sometimes you might have noticed this when labeling things, some don't pop up because they conflict. But we might want those, so we don't want them just to disappear. We want them stored, and we might go in and choose, okay, this one's more important, so you'll want them as an option. With all that done, you're just going to hit convert. Now it doesn't look like anything's happened. But if I come over here and turn them on, we have them. And as you can see over here, we have them broken up into categorical and special district. Now there's a your turn where they want us to pretty much do the same thing with our street center lines, and this has to be done because we're going to be using this in the tutorial. So you just want to right click it, and you can see that it is not acceptable right now. That's because it's turned off, but we turn it on and we don't see anything. That's because they didn't give this any symbology. It's just there. But as you can see, stuff popped up, and we can convert those into annotations. And we're going to do what we did in the previous. Everything pretty much stays the same. I'll make sure you change the name to what they want it, and then convert. Now they want us to right-click the special districts in the zoning districts and look at properties. We're going to be looking at the General tab first. And what they want us to do here is they want us to set a scale range. And you just do that by clicking on this. And they want it out beyond 7,200. And that's not an automatic option, so you just write that in. You don't have to do the 1 followed by the 2 dot thing. If you just click over here, it does that automatically. I suggest not putting that in because sometimes if you do it wrong, it might get confused. And then they want you to give a description. Then click apply. And then they want us to go here, the annotation class, and this will tell you the font size, any queries or expressions used to create these. And if you hit this text symbol, it brings you in here, and it will give you an idea of like the size of the font name, whether it was bolded, italicized, underlined, had a line through it, if it was offset, whatever. You can even go through here and look at some of the more advanced stuff. Now, you can't change any of this, so some people are like, okay, why is this here even? And the reason is because if you were to send this to someone and they really liked what you did and they want to kind of copy some of the techniques you did, they could go in here and jot those down. Okay, now they want us to do the same thing we did just for categorical. Properties, back to general. Change this, and seeing that we put this 7200, it now becomes a selectable option. We don't have to choose it, and just click OK. Now what we're going to do is we're going to edit some street names. And this is why we had to do the first year turn, because if not, it wouldn't be available to us. So what we're going to do is we're going to turn off zoning districts annotation. We're going to make sure our editor is up and running, and we're going to start an editing session. Now, the book doesn't really mention this, but our street center lines are in a different geodatabase than our districts. So make sure that one is selected. You can come down here and select the whole geodatabase, or you can just select the one that you want. Either one, it'll make sure that it's selected. Then click OK. And now they want us to make it to where the centerline annotations are the only selectable layer. And we can quickly do that just by right-clicking, selection, make this the only selectable layer. Now they want us to go in and zoom to street 1, but we have to load it. Now they're going to have us do this a lot, so if this is just annoying and time consuming, you might just want to pause the video, look through the book real quick, find out what other bookmarks you're going to have to load, and do them all at once. I'm just going to stick to the book because some people like to do the repetition, and I don't want to make them think that they're missing something. So load, go down to street 1, zoom to, and what they want us to do is, see here we have 1, 2, 3, 4 copies of the same title, and they want us to get rid of that. But before we do that, we're going to set up our streets so that they have a scale reference and everything like that. So we're going to right-click on street center lines, the actual shape feature, not the annotations. Go to properties, and in here we will just type in 6,000, and then up here for symbol you can see nothing is selected. They just want us to choose residential street. You can see that it's very thin. It only looks this thick because we're really zoomed in. And if we come back in here in general, you can see that our scale range has been set. Now, like the book says, this SH121 appears too many times for their liking. So what we're going to do is we're going to use a tool that's been on the edit toolbar, but we haven't really used, and it's this edit annotation tool, and it's right next to our edit tool. So with that, we're going to click on the first one over here, then holding the shift button, we're going to click on the one right below it and the one down here. We're going to leave the one in the middle alone. That's the one they want us to keep. And on the editor toolbar, they want us to hit the attribute button up here, and this will open up the attributes for this. And if you click on here, it gives you all the information, tells you like the font size and everything. You can come over here, look at the attributes. Basically, what they want us to know is that these are all the same. They're just a bunch of duplicates, so we can delete them. So you're going to highlight them like this, right click, and delete. And they're gone. Now what they want us to do is they want us to move the remaining one and also make it a little bit bigger. Because without as many there, it doesn't have to worry about conflicting. So we're going to click on this guy, and as you see, it opens up in here. And we're going to go over to attributes. And in here for font size, we're just going to change it to 15. So you got a little bit bigger. Now we're going to grab it and slide it down. Now, as you can see, it's over here. They want it in the center. They said there is a possibility of it flipping. Now, I've never had it flip on me before, but if that does occur for you, you just come down all the way over here for flip angle, and they tell you to put in 80, and I assume that brings it back to where you want it. So I'm just going to leave it right there. Click out here. And we're going to zoom back to full extent. Okay, and it's about halfway. This is the one that we moved, but we have a few extras here. And they want us to get rid of those. So we're going to select these two like we did before. Right click and delete. And now there's another your turn. And I'm just going to close this real quick. It's going to make us zoom over here. And I just want you to look at the way that it's set up, and you'll understand why. So you're going to come up to Bookmarks. We're going to manage Bookmarks, load, and Street 2. As you can see, we have two here. They only want one. And we're going to keep this one up here, Highway 360. So we're going to click on this guy, open up our little attribute table up here. We're going to delete him. We're going to select this guy. We're going to make him a bit bigger. And we're going to make sure he is up here on the higher route. Now, you might think, okay, down here it might be better because it might, be further down the road. But remember that this is pretty much the end of the map. So we want it in the middle. So I'm going to put it to where it kind of lines up with this yellow break right here, right there. And then we can zoom out to full extent. Close our attribute table. And as you can see, it's right there. Now they're going to have us place some unplaced annotations. And to do this, we're going to need to add a tool to our editor toolbar. So what you're going to want to do is go up to Customize, Customize Mode, and you want to go to Commands. And you want to just start typing Unplaced. And it has this cool like autofill to where it gets anyone that's, has that word in it. And then you just click and hold, and I'm going to place it right next to the annotation edit tool because, they deal with each other. And then I'm just going to close. And we're going to add yet another tool or bookmark. Zoom to it. I'm going to zoom out a little bit more because whenever they have us use these things, if you did, I forgot what chapter it was. I think it was like 5, the one where you had to look for errors and edit them and clip them and extend them, and you found out that sometimes some of the errors were like right at the border, and it was really hard to you had to end up panning to really see it. So I'm just going to zoom out more than they really wanted me to. I think that should be good. And now I'm going to zoom or bring it down to where I can kind of just see the top of my map because I'm going to have a window down here and I don't want it blocking the map. So I'm going to undock this because I don't want it docked. And I'm going to place it right about there. Then I'm going to change this to residential. Make sure visible extent is on because you don't want ones outside our our area of interest, and then we're going to click draw. And what draw does is it's going to put them on the map, but only while we're using this tool, unless we tell it to, like, okay, we want to keep this on there for good. Then you just click search now, and we got a bunch of stuff. And you can tell the ones that were added are surrounded by these red boxes. So we're going to now we're going to work on this street right here. So we're going to find it on here, Aurora Drive, and we're going to right click it and place annotation. Or you get to click it and then press the space bar. I don't like using some of the shortcuts sometimes until you know for sure that's what it is, and the best way to do that is to right click, because some people, they have their computer set up differently to where like a space bar can never be a shortcut, or it might be a shortcut to another program you have open and it might cause your computer to crash or something. So now it is on the map and we can actually start playing with it. Now step 5 doesn't really inform you that you're still working with this road right here, but that's what we're doing. So what we're going to do is we're going to right click it. Like if we were to try to move it, we can only move it along that street. Either above it, on it, but we can't, like, you can place it over here because it follows the direction of the feature, but I can't like drag it all the way up here. So we're going to right click on it and we're going to go to this file and we're going to do the follow feature options. And we're going to make some changes. First, because a lot of our roads around here actually curve, we're going to change it from straight to curve. That way it'll fit the line better. And we want it on the line because sometimes it's just the best way to do it. And as you can see, it's kind of like a little train now. It just follows that road. And as you can see, there's 2 boxes for the street. What they want us to do is they want us to convert it to a single part. Even though that when you click on it, it highlights both, they want us to still have it as a single part. Probably so that the drive can never get deleted. Because as you might know from, as you can see, there's a cul-de-sac right here to where, it could easily be confused. Okay. Now they just tell you to place it. I put it right there in the middle. And there's a your turn where they want us to do it to Anthony Drive, Wade CT, Running Bear CT, and Bear Creek Drive they want us to do some work on. Now we're going to place Anthony Drive real quick. So we're going to click on that and we're going to place it. If you go to the follow options, they have stayed the same, so we don't have to go and keep doing that. But what we do have to do is we have to convert to a single part, make it follow little train tracks here of the road, and it's right there. Now we're going to do Wade Street, or Wade cul-de-sac. And we're going to place annotation. We're going to make it a single. Now, I believe because this street has no other exits, that this whole segment right here is the cul-de-sac. So we don't have to have it like where it's here in this little ball end. You can kind of have it in the middle here. So it kind of highlights, so it's not all cramped in here. Okay, then they want us to correct the placement of Running Bear CT and Bear Creek Drive. So Running Bear CT is right down here. So they want us to click on that. And as you can see, it's kind of like out here in the middle of the road. So what you want to do is convert to single part. And the first time I did this, it did not have the CT jump up here to the side. They had it down here. And if that doesn't bother you, keep it that way. If it does, you know, get rid of it. You see, see, it did move. So having it like that doesn't really bother me. You could try converting to multiple parts, clicking on it, and dragging it over here, and clicking on the whole thing, and then convert to a single part. But it just does the same thing. So I'm just going to keep it as a single part, following that line right there, because that, to me, that would be appropriate. And then they want us to move Bear Creek Drive to a better place. That's right here. Once again, convert to a single part. And move it right about here, I guess. And they want us to get rid of the duplicate. So do that in Attribute folder over here. Just click it, right click, delete. If I were doing this, I don't know if I would do that. It depends on how cluttered your map looks like when it's zoomed out. But sometimes on a very long road, you actually want duplicate names, because if you zoom in, you might not see that name because it's probably like somewhere else on a really long road. But that's what the book wants us to do, so we're going to stick with what the book wants. Okay, now they want us to click on Little Bear TR in the Unplaced annotation window. I don't have that, and I zoomed out quite a bit. I'll try to zoom out a little bit more. Still not coming up. Still not coming up. So I don't know why these are in here, but all they have you do is right click them and delete them. So it might just be an error with mine. I could never find these. This is brand new geodatabase that I'm using. So it's not like I did it earlier and forgot. So if that doesn't pop up, don't freak out. It's probably the book and the CD. Now they want us to click on the Brown Bear CT. Search again just to get rid of those duplicates. Okay, and we got this guy right here. And what they want us to do is that it's at the end of the Brown Bear Way. They say we can just get rid of the Brown Bear part. So we're going to place it. With it selected, we're going to go to Attributes. We're going to come over here. And we're just going to change this text string. And then we're just going to move it down to here. Just like that. Now they want us to work on Lake Drive. So click on that one. As you can see, it's this one right here. So we're going to place it. Then they're going to have us right click it. And they're going to have us uncheck the follow feature mode. and they want us to bring it somewhere up here. Then they want us to right-click it and add a leader. Now, it doesn't look very pretty, but sometimes it's very necessary. Let's clear our selection. As you can see, it put a line pointing to the street to the name. Pretty sure there's a way. They don't really tell you how to change the name or the color of the leader. Maybe in attributes. Leader right here. And I guess you can go in here and change the color and everything. I'm just going to do that real quick. I'm just going to change it to red. See? So if you ever want to change the color, that's how you do it. I'll show you once again. You click on it. In the attribute, make sure you're on Annotations. Then just click on Leader. Now they want us to clear the Draw checkbox here and close it. They want us to end our session, editing session, and save our edits. Now they want us to zoom to Street 4. They tell us to load it, but they actually had it on there already. So I'm going to not load it. And what happened is they put some new streets in here, I guess, and they weren't given a code as residential and everything. So it didn't know how to label them as we have them over here. So what we're going to do is we're going to actually go in, select these 5 roads, and change their status to, or their class code to residential. And so we're going to start editing. We're going to make sure, once again, street center lines is our editable geodatabase. We're going to make sure that street center lines is our only selectable layer. And you're going to hold the Shift button and select these 5 streets. Then up here, I'd start with the very top one. You're going to go down to class and change it from new streets to residential. This will pop up every single time and you'll have to click yes. It's annoying, but we have to do it. There. Now we're going to close our attribute little window there, and we're going to save our edits. Verify that the street center lines and the street center lines annotations are the only selectable layers. You do that by going over here, and now it's true. Now click on the street centerline annotations template. So we're going to click on that, and then we're going to open up our create features. And they're right here. In the book, they show that a lot more things are inside your create features. They probably did this book before they separated those two geodatabases. So you're going to want to click on residential and then go to construct feature tools, which is down here, and click on the follow features, which is already done. Then move the tool crosshairs over the street center line at the top of the subdivision. So right here, and press Control W. This will get the street name from the attribute table of the center line. And as you can see, I can move it anywhere I want. Put the cursor over the street center line and click. So I'm going to try to get it pretty centered and click right there. And now it's on the track. So I can choose where I want it and click again, and it's placed. Now they want us to do the same thing and place the names for Black Bear Drive and Lost Valley Drive. So we're going to click on this guy again. Over here, we're going to Control W. That is not what I wanted to do. So I'm going to select this guy, open up attributes, and I'm going to delete it. Now I don't know why it won't let me choose the other ones. This is why I don't like when it doesn't, as you just use a command rather than tell you actually what you need to do. So I'm going to right click, find text. Okay. So now I can click, it'll follow, and I can place it. Over here, I'm going to right click, find text, and it worked better. And I'm going to place that there. Then I'm going to stop my editing session and save. Now we're going to edit the zoning annotations. So we're going to start a new editing session, but remember, we are going to be working in a different geodatabase than we have been. So make sure that it's the city of Olender, and make sure there's a little pencil along with the zoning district annotations. Okay, now we're going to turn on the zoning annotations. And make it the only selectable layer. Then we're going to zoom to bookmark 5, which we have to load. And we're going to close that down. Now, in the book, as you can see, they have the SH121 freeway there still. Obviously, they did this portion of the tutorial before the beginning of the chapter, so the pictures are out of order. So don't think that there's something wrong with your map. Okay, so what they're saying is that this annotation needs to be rotated to align with the zoning district boundary. So I guess rather than be confused with this blue, they want it to only be thought of for this purple here. So what they want us to do is use the Edit Annotation tool and select text. Now click on the blue arch in the selection box and rotate the text to match the surrounding. That's these guys right here. And it pivots on the other one, which is kind of cool. And then I can just grab it and just come over here and, put it to where you want it. They have it going the other way, so I'll do that, I guess. Like that. Okay, now they want us to zoom to Street 6, which we have to load. Okay, and what the issue for this one is R1 is this complete yellow area, and it's kind of tiny compared to like such a large one. As you can see, in comparison, it actually looks smaller than like CUD. It's not. They're all the same shape or the same font. It's just in comparison, it just looks so much bigger. So what we're going to do is we're going to make it bigger. So we're going to click it, and we're going to just make it larger. And you do that by clicking on this little red arrow that's up here. It makes your mouse turn into the up and down arrow that you see on the screen right now. And then they want us to put it somewhere. I'm just going to try to put it like almost dead center, like right here. But I'm going to try to avoid placing it on as many names as I can. So there we go. Okay, now we're going to bookmark 7. I told you there's a lot. I don't see why they didn't do these. Adding bookmarks isn't that hard, so they have it. You do it a lot in this book. Okay, now what they want us to do is they want us to add halos. Because sometimes dark words on a dark background can be difficult to read, like black on blue. So what we're going to do is we're going to turn on the zoning district masks, and that's what the halos kind of look like. In the book, it looks really darker. So we're going to turn those off. And right-click, pull under zoning maps, in the table of contents, and we're going to go to advanced drawing options. Okay, and then we're going to select draw using the masking options. That's this box right here. And then we're going to select zoning district masks. And then we're going to choose zoning boundaries and lot boundaries. Now, it won't let us choose the zoning district masks, probably because we selected them over here. Okay, then they want us to check this box over here, enable to associate levels to masked layers. Then click OK to close the dialog box. Okay, see, now what happened was it got rid of the lot boundaries here. Like, instead of seeing the buildings there, it kind of makes them get covered up to where you don't see them. They don't kind of clutter up the name. Now, you wouldn't want to do this if someone's looking at this map and needs to see those. This is more for, like, if you're going to like a town meeting or something, you throw it up there. That way, because people are more interested in seeing names and street names, and maybe if you had a legend explaining what these codes were, what areas these were talking about. And that's it for this tutorial. So they tell you to save. Actually, no, we're not editing, so just save your map. I suggest saving it as something else, and then you can move on to your tutorial. Now, you're going to be continuing on this, so you might want to save as, and then read what the tutorial wants before just shutting down.